Hi guys, welcome back to the Astrology. Today I am recording for you one of the most important videos from a Saturn transit perspective, which is going to be coming into effect this month of March 2025 itself. Saturn is making a huge transit into the sign of Pisces, and that transit is going to be coming into effect from 29th of March onwards. And this transit is going to be in play for the next 2.5 years. Of course, during this phase, Saturn is going to get combust. It is combusted at this point itself whilst I'm recording this video, whilst it's going to happen in future as well, next 1.5 years. It is going to go retrograde as well. And whilst all this is happening, we will be talking about specific stages as to what it entails for you, how you're going to be impacted. And we will be watching this transit through the course of these 2.5 years. But in today's video, I am going to give you a broad definition of what could be the impact that you can imagine with this transit. Now, it is very important for you to note here that this video is being made both from rising standpoint as well as from a moon sign perspective. So what does it mean? It means that Aries rising or ascendant Aries Lagna people can watch this video and see the impact as to how Saturn's movement into the Pisces sign is going to bring them some real time significances, physical significances into play. Whilst from a moon sign perspective, it is so very crucial because this Saturn is coming into your 12th house, which means you are on the onset of Sade. Now, what is Sade Sati? Sade Sati is going to be a period of 7.5 years when Saturn is traversing right behind your moon, on top of your moon, and second to your moon, which means in these 7.5 years, you are going to see some significant impact from an emotional, mental well being as well. So, guys, we will deep down through the course of this video to understand what it means, both from a rising as well as moon sign video perspective. And you must watch this entire series of all the 12 zodiacs where you are going to be analyzing it from both the angles. It is going to give you a lot more clarity and you are going to get a much more comprehensive view as to what is going to be happening. So let's get started. Guys, as you can see on your screen here, we have projected for the sign of Aries, Saturn in the sign of Pisces already. It is currently in transit from your 11th house on the day of recording this video, but from 29th March onwards, you are going to find this planet sitting in your 12th house. Now, as I said before, you can watch this both from a rising as well as moon sign perspective. And specifically from a moon sign perspective, as you can see, your moon is going to be placed here in your first house while Saturn is right behind your moon, which means it is going to be an onset of Sadesati. Now, with the onset of Sadesati itself, you can anticipate some suddenness in terms of pressure coming onto you. You are going to feel some level of mental and emotional pitch, increase in a burden of some sorts. But irrespective of your moon sign or your ascendant sign placement, you might be feeling this already at this point in time. Saturn is the lord of your 10th house and 11th house. And as he is inching towards the 12th, he is inching with combustion. And you will realize that there is some unsaid, unrelated, unexpected lack of energy at work, lack of rhythm that you find with respect to your karma, with respect to your efforts that you've been trying to put into it, which has also acted the kind of output you expect from yourself, the kind of gains that you measure in terms of efforts that you're putting in. What does it mean? It means that there could be some level of lethargy, some level of lack of willingness, some level of lack of action from your professional life automatically without you taking any specific action in that direction. And that is resulting into some level of slowness. Why? Because Saturn is fear. He is slow. He is taking time towards giving outputs to us. And when he is the lord of gains, getting into combustion and inching in towards the cusp, towards the 12th house itself, you will realize that some of the wishes that you were hoping to accomplish, that this Saturn is going to help you with, that is losing rhythm in itself. It is not panning out for you. There is an uneasiness. There is an unsaid burden which has already started creeping in the month of March for you folks. Now, this video is not intended to set a tone of panic. It is not intended to make you worried about what is anticipated. But remember, Saturn at the end of the day is the lord of karma. He is a planet that denotes hard work. He is a planet which, I keep on repeating, has sadistic tendencies. Why? Because he wants to test us. He wants to examine what we bring to the table. And that is where I will deep dive into the aspects of the Saturn as well. But in the last 2.5 years, you have found that Saturn has been rewarding towards you. He has been giving you the outcomes that you anticipated. He has rewarded you for the hard work that you've put in. And wherever you've dropped the ball, you've seen some level of lethargy also coming in. Yes, the outcomes have come to you after a delay because Saturn was placed in your 11th house and giving an aspect to your Lagna itself. And because of those delays, could have given some set of frustrating tone, some set of underlining impatience as well. But as long as you've stuck with patience, as long you've been perseverant with your efforts, you've been pushing your way through, you will realize that this Saturn has resulted into positive outcomes for you, albeit with a delay. So it's a positive Saturn in the last 2.5, in fact, last 5 years, I would say for you. He had been giving an aspect to your fifth house as well, apart from your Lagna, which we said from the third house, from the third aspect perspective. From a Lagna perspective, you could have also built a lot of principles, a lot of mindset. You would have defined your ways of working. Some level of discipline, rigor would have come. And that is important because before the onset of Sade Sati, if you're watching this from an Aries moon perspective, or if you're watching from a rising perspective as well, Saturn has given an impact of positive efforts. It's like when you train a child, when you train a puppy that you get home, you reward them with the treats when they listen to your actions, when they listen to your commands. That is what Saturn has done with us so far, guys. He has rewarded us, albeit with patience, albeit with slow, delayed results. But he has rewarded on positive efforts. What does it mean for you? It means that if you are going to up the tempo, it is going to continue doing that. And Sade Sati in itself will become extremely seamless. Or even the presence of Saturn in the 12th house will become a seamless experience for you to enjoy. It will be a frictionless experience and you will not feel the itch. That is the reason you guys are here on this channel right now, because everybody is going to be talking negative. And I want you to shift your mindset. I want you to shift your game plan in thinking as to how you can be behaving, how you can be conducting yourself in the next 2.5 years to not see a negative impact on yourself. You don't need to do any remedies as long as you bring in behavioral changes, disciplinary changes. This Saturn had been decent in terms of keeping you disciplined last 2.5 years. He was giving an aspect to your fifth house. Some of you would have been rewarded in terms of traditional approach towards investment, towards traditional strategies. If you were starting on your own in your own business, your boutique, your new startup, your new venture, whatever it may be, even your investment strategies, if they have been more of strategic investment plans, systematic investment plans, or a certain phenomena, certain process that you follow in terms of going about by the books, you would have seen positive outcome in these 2.5 years. You would have been rewarded with a child. You would have been rewarded with a positive relationship as well from a romance perspective. Yes, only if you would have passed the test of Saturn. Saturn is not going to reward us without testing us. But if you've walked away from temptations, if you've resisted yourself in terms of falling for desires, then that Saturn would have given amazing results from your relationship standpoints too. You would have seen this last 2.5 years help you grow, become spiritual, understand or align yourself towards leaders, be it your fatherly figure, your father himself, or your superiors and bosses at workplace. There could have been an interest in terms of traveling to some colder places, mountainous places in the last 1.5 years. And in fact, your bucket list, your checkpoints would have been all these areas. Saturn would have helped you to achieve or tick off your bucket list if you would have passed the test. And if you've struggled there, guys, it is a time of awakening. If the last 2.5, last 5 years have not been that busy, have not been rewarding for you, it means somewhere or the other, your efforts have not gone to the way the Saturn expects you to work. And that's a wake up call. And that is okay. As long as you are listening to me right now and trying to understand as to how you can bring that shift, you will be in a good space. The Lord of your 10th house is coming into the 12th, indicates that the profession is going to see certain challenges because it's a third movement. It's a third movement, and hence, from your career perspective, from your work standpoint, from your overall karma's perspective, you will have to put in the longer hours. You will have to burn the midnight oil, and you have to get ready to do so. You are going to reap the rewards in a positive way if you are able to get up and see that you can plan where you have to emphasize with your efforts. That is important because Saturn is discipline. You have to work with discipline, with a rigor, with a plan in place. When Saturn is coming into the third in Pisces, it will also give you the opportunity to take your work into a different place, into a different location. It could result into transfers. It could result into movement, shifting of your household because of your work perspective itself. Be it you are in a job or you're running your own business, your own startup, you will see that there will be a shift, change of location that could come into place. And especially if that shift is associated to a faraway place, if that shift is associated to a place that is of a different cultural background, different country, city, state, you must be welcoming towards that change. You must adopt it and adapt around it. There is a possibility that some of you might be moving towards the coastal areas, and depending on the placement of Saturn in your natal chart, which I cannot predict in a generic video like this, only when I see your natal chart and this transit, I can give you much more clarity. You will realize that you might move into coastal areas, settle there, or could get associated with elements related to Pisces. It could be fishery industry. It could be something related to oceans, geographical research. It could be analysis of something that relates into the research or depth of something. And when we talk about research, it could be research of medicine industry to research in consulting to research in large, heavy machinery industry kind of segments as well. So you see how that shift is going to entail and engross you. But at the same time, when 10th Lord is going to 12th, remember, it is an explosion of challenges coming your way because now you are in a place where you have to explore things, you have to juggle, you have to adapt and be open to this shift. I know it could be a lot to take. Many of you could be struggling from a career professional perspective at this point in time. There could be an unnecessary headache coming in your way. But you have to be open about it. You have to be flexible to those situations. And yes, the Saturn is going to push you out of your comfort zone. You will have to make additional effort. You will have to travel. You will have to do a daily rigor. Many of you might be asked to return to work, return to office. A work from home could be a disruption for many of you, Aries, my friends. And that might be a mental shift as well as a physical shift for you. You could be required to travel on a daily basis in these 2.5 years. You might not enjoy that. But the faster you adapt, the faster you adopt this change, you are going to find that relief. There will be this sort of mental burden behind you, stress, emotional stress, mental stress coming in, but you have to soak that in. You have to understand that this is what this Saturn is going to be expecting you to do in the next few months. Now, this Saturn is also the lord of your gains, wish fulfillment, and desires. And when he is moving second place away into the 12th house, one might imagine it could result into losses. It could result into expenses. It could result into diminishing of your wishes and fulfillment. Yes, that is very much a possibility. But on the positive side of things, on the flip side to this, you will realize that this will also be a second movement. It is the consolidation of your gains. It is the consolidation of your desires. So, whatever plans that you've executed in the last 2.5 years, my friends, if you worked strategically, if you worked with focus, you will realize that this is going to be a period to consolidate on all of it. Do not get worried. Yes, you will find stress that how do I manage? I've done enough savings. Now, am I making them in the right fashion to invest in the right direction? I have taken certain aggressive calls at my workplace, which has resulted into growth. Now, will I be able to sustain that growth or see a decline? Even if you are a homemaker watching this video, if you're a student watching this video, please try and assimilate this, that your objective to achieve that success in education, getting admission into the right college, might now require more grind in terms of sustaining it, living through it, growing with it. You might have got admission into a great college, but now you are surrounded with the best of the breed people around you. You would have done well from a career perspective, got that next designation shift in the last 3.5, 4 years. But now it's the time to show your mettle against those top notch people at your level itself and show that, yes, you are a part of the game. You deserve to be here. And it is going to be a strenuous work because now Saturn is in your 12th. If you are watching from an Aries moon perspective, it's right behind your moon. Mental pressure is going to be high. People are going to be on top of your head asking you what next? How can you deliver more? Don't worry. It's just a test of Saturn. He wants to see that are you up for that continuous beat? And remember, some of the best achievements come in lives when Saturn is with that whiplash on top of our heads and asking us, can you do more? Can you push yourself to the zilt? And that is the opportunity that comes for you, Aries. It's an opportunity coming your way where you will be constantly tested. And must, if you can consolidate on your desires. Your 11th lord has moved to the 12th. It is also a period of you being very strategic with your investments. It is a period where you will have to find some sort of charitable, donatable activities. Inculcate that into your lifestyle. Be the better human you already are, my friend. You are listening to this video not because you are seeking some remedies or throwing 5 kgs of rice running water. That is not what Dave Astrology preaches or talks about. We talk about the shift in our mindset. We talk about the shift in our behaviors. So, Aries, my friends, if you are listening carefully, this is a period where you have to become that better person. If you see somebody struggling, offer a hand of help with whatever limited, unlimited capacity that you have, ability that you have. It could be just $10 burger that you buy for a hungry person. But that mindset, helping that homeless person on the street, Saturn, the downtrodden of the society, supporting them during this period is going to be phenomenal for you folks. No better remedy than this. No better remedy for Saturn being a large hearted personality. And Aries, you have that in you. So inculcate that, expand on that. You will see that spiritual satisfaction amidst all the pressure, amidst all the headache that you guys are facing through. And sometimes it is so difficult for anybody else to imagine the kind of stress you could be going through. It is so beautiful that we are able to still find 5 minutes, 15 minutes in our life to do a small positive gesture in the life of somebody else. You will see the impact of that in your life. So, what is that, my folks? Next 2.5 years are going to see you reaping rewards if you continue to do so. And it should come naturally. I shouldn't be talking about it. It should be something that should happen for you naturally in your persona and your personality. When this Saturn is here in your 12th house, he will now be giving an aspect to your second house. Now, remember, folks, this aspect is the third aspect and it's a hard aspect. Saturn is going to expand investments, expenditures, spirituality in your life with his placement in the 12th house. So, some of the positives or the losses that we are anticipating are bound to happen. My recommendation is flip those losses into investments, traditional investments. But the third aspect of Saturn, and a lot of people will talk with respect to fear, with respect to inculcating that fear in you. I want to tell you, please do not get scared of the aspects of Saturn as well, because the third aspect of Saturn is basically the test, the resolve that Saturn wants to see in you. He wants to see that whether or not you have that mindset to put up to this fight, to put up to the battle. That is why he's going to test you with that. And where is he giving the third aspect? He's giving the third aspect into your second house, into the sign of Taurus, into your savings, into your family, your speech, your communication, your informal style of interaction within your network. It is the food that you consume. It is the bank balances that you're going to add to. And Saturn is going to test your resolve in these areas, which means it is going to be extremely important for you, my Aries friends, especially Aries moon in this case, that how you are expressing your thoughts, your words, your choice of words become absolutely critical. You might develop the habit of being extremely direct in your communication, in your speech. And thereby, you will realize that you could end up hurting sometimes your family members as well with how you are communicating to them. And this is where I would want you to be watchful. This Saturn will test your resolve with your food habits. Are you sticking with the staple, disciplined dietary recommendations depending on your culture? You are an American person watching this video, South American person, Asian person, Europe. The cuisines are different in your place. Stick with the staple habits of your area. Stick with the staple food that brings in discipline to your diet, which is healthy for you, instead of exploring junk food for that matter. Because Saturn is going to impact your health depending on your choices. He's giving an aspect to your sixth house as well. So he expects you to make the right choice. These 2.5 years are going to see an impact in your not only your emotional and mental health, but Aries rising as well as Aries moon. Listen to this carefully. Also your physical health. So you will have to make sure that you, if from this point onwards, when you're watching this video, please become more rigorous, disciplined, orchestrated towards your food habits. Be kind to people whilst you're talking to them. Be showering. Yes, truthfulness is important and that is going to expand in you. But be kind when you are expressing feedback, criticism to your family members. Don't be too direct, too strenuous. He is going to see that how much of a savings you can build. And because he is sitting in the 12th house, expenses are bound to come and the impact in savings is also going to be there. And thereby, you see how beautifully this is tied. Your choices of expenses, your investments are going to reflect your bank balances, your savings. Flip the concept of doing the expenses in the form of investment. So even if the money is not in your bank account, you are adding the assets in terms of stocks, in terms of commodities, in terms of real estate and properties that you're buying. So you can use this shift, this period, actually go ahead. And as I said before, consolidate on your desires. What were your desires? Did you plan to buy a new property? Did you plan to buy a new home, shop, warehouse, factory for yourself, machinery for yourself? Go and build your assets during this point in time, even if it is resulting into a decline in your savings. That is how you need to flip the start of Sade Sati for you, Aries, if you are moon sign, or from a rising standpoint as well. Now you have to also understand here that because Saturn is sitting in that 6-12 axis, with the aspect coming into the sixth house as well for you in the sign of Virgo, both Taurus and Virgo aspects are going to be crucial and positive. They are the friendly signs of Saturn. And into the sign of Virgo, the aspect is that of Shatruanta Yoga, which means that your efforts, your karma, if in the right direction, will enable this Saturn to shield you of the unexpected challenges coming your way. There will be some known obstacles in your career, in your job. There could be some health related hurdles that might pop up. There could be some issues that might come into play with respect to your relationships, your marriage as well. But if you stick to your guns, if you stick to a fair playing plan, what you will realize is that the same Saturn is going to help you do well during this period as well. You are going to overcome the obstacles, you are going to overcome the challenges. The loans that you take in terms of making those investments to purchase that new property, add on to your new assets, resulting into the diminishing of your bank balances, will also have the ability to pay back those loans, to pay back those investments that you're planning for. But you have to be clever about it. You have to be strategic about it. Cut your coat according to your cloth. Don't go overboard because Saturn likes to work within the confines of the boundary. It's just that the boundaries are getting bigger. Saturn is about expansion too in the 12th house. So, yes, you are going to face troubles at your workplace. Yes, you are going to have obstacles in your career, and obstacles will be bigger. But you will have the audacity, you will have the strength, you will have the ability, the capability to counter those challenges, those obstacles as well. And the harder is your resolve, the better the outcomes will be. I want you guys to be going with a positive mindset after watching this video, especially if you're an Aries moon and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be starting with my Sade Sati period right now. Guys, it can be the most beautiful period for you, irrespective of what is happening in life. Shun out negativity and the negative people around you. You are going to see the impact of that. Now, the Saturn is also giving a 10th aspect into your 9th house, into the sign of Sagittarius. So you will see that this is going to be the biggest transformation area, the biggest area of karma, effort coming in for you. You will see transformation in terms of relationships with your bosses, with your superiors, even with your father for that matter. There could be a digression in terms of value system, in terms of belief system. And my recommendation to you guys would be stick to the traditional mindset, strict to the beaten path, strict to the values that have been proven over time. There is no substitute to hard work, for example. If you stick with this simple principle, irrespective of the kind of challenges you are facing, irrespective of the problems that your boss might throw at you at work, you will find yourself recovering out of those situations. If you have a competitive examination that you are preparing for, Saturn is going to give you success in that. Any kind of competition, any kind of selections. But you have to stick with a game plan. You have to stick with a technique that have been taught over the years. Irrespective of your domain, you are preparing to become a doctor or an engineer or a teacher or for a bureaucratic examination or better post in your workplace in your career. Stick to the beaten path. What others have done before, what has been the template. Saturn likes templates. Stick to the template. This is not a period of experimentations. This is not a period of not going by the books. And sometimes, guys, it is okay if you're not thinking out of the box. There is so much hype about creativity, about doing things differently, that people have started to undervalue about doing things in the old school, old fashioned way. And this period, specifically for Aries moon, I would say, stick to the beaten path. Follow what is the template. And you will see positive impact of it. The Sade Sati will be less strenuous for you. At the fag end of this video, I would want to add a couple of points. Guys, could be a challenging start. We will walk through the course of the next 2.5 years where we will find what happens when the Saturn is retrograding, how it is going to impact your job, how it's going to impact your relationships. Would that be a decent time to make a switch or not? Would you see some kind of losses coming your way in terms of your money or your health aspects? We will discuss about what kind of impact will come whenever he gets combusted. And those periods will come through the course of this 2.5 periods. So I don't want to jump the gun right now, but broadly speaking, my friends, Aries, I hope you understand the point that this is a period of consolidation. It is not to be seen as losses. It is not to be seen as expenses. It has to be seen from the lens of strategy, investment, planning, being cognizant, being aware of what is happening around you. And if you are able to nail that piece down, if you are able to help the people who are around you in your plain sight, you are going to sail through this period, and that positivity should stick around with you. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, then you must smash on that like button, subscribe to Dave Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya.